The Chicago Blackhawks fight to secure the second wild card spot in the Western Conference, but with their recent loss, that spot may get filled. With the Milwaukee Bucks being the hottest team in the NBA right now, will the Warriors be able to stop them? Free agent Bryce Harper has many teams looking to make some short-term deals, but with Harper seeking a long-term deal, things could get interesting. Good morning and thanks for joining us. I'm Taylor Jordan alongside Phil Giovanni and Zach Cummings, and welcome to Local Sports Focus. In my mind, we have a lot of buzz in each sport at the moment, especially with the NHL and the NBA finals playoffs coming up. One big story that I have been following is if the Blackhawks are going to make the playoffs this year. After missing the playoffs for the first time in 10 years last season, the Blackhawks and the city of Chicago need them to pull this off. They are currently in tie with the Colorado Avalanche for the second wildcard spot in the Western Conference, and their midseason surge is having a big impact on how the team is approaching the impending trade deadline. Hosts, the Blackhawks, are scheduled to face off against Anaheim on Wednesday after a tough 4-3 loss against the Stars on Sunday. What do you guys think they need to do to fill that spot?
I think Corey Crawford really needs to step up. I mean, he is coming off of an injury, a concussion, so that is going to mess with him a lot. The biggest thing, though, Taves and Kane, they've obviously been the stars of the team the past couple of years. They need to keep up that pace again. It's a lot to ask of them with how they've been the past couple of years. Mm-hmm. They really need to keep this going. But again, Corey Crawford is our man. He needs to be the biggest one here. And the young guys have been great. Pirellini has been somebody I've been loving to watch. DeBrincat, as we'll talk about in a minute. But, I mean, seriously, these guys are really good. They just need to show that they're really good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, speaking of DeBrincat, he's been on fire this season. He's on pace for career record goals this year. He's kept with Patrick Kane stats-wise, and without him, the Hawks wouldn't be where they're at right now. So honestly, if you keep getting him more involved, get the defense out there. I know Duncan Keith's getting up there in age, but at the same time, he's still keeping it going with what he's at right now.
Yeah, this is just going to be their last straw. If you can't make the playoffs 2 years in a row, well, not going to know what's going to happen. Heading into NBA news, Milwaukee has officially claimed the #1 spot, kicking the Warriors down to #2. The Bucks have won 9 of its past 10, the best mark in the NBA in that span. These contenders will be tested starting this week in their quest to obtain home court advantage throughout the playoffs. With the Warriors winning 3 championships in 4 years, the Bucks are on the hunt to take their title. Odds makers are showing that the Milwaukee and Toronto have the best odds to dethrone the Warriors in the finals with the 10-1 odds. What do you guys think about the Milwaukee Bucks, and how do you think that what they're gonna do to win against the Warriors?
Well, they've got Giannis Antetokounmpo, one of the front runners for the MVP, front runner for Defensive Player of the Year. He has done everything in his power to make this team as good as it is. He just had a 50-point game the other night. He is proving to be the best player on this squad, and there's no debate. Probably the best player in the NBA, in my opinion. They also have Nikola Mirotic, who they got in the trade in this offseason. It's been doing spectacularly and shooting the lights out. Brook Lopez, especially, too, shooting the lights out from 3. A big man shooting threes is always fun to watch. Yeah. Great defensive player. It's insane how well they're doing, especially with all the turmoil they had the past couple of years. Jason Kidd being a horrible coach. You know, they've gone through a lot, and to be at this point, it's well-deserved.
Yeah, Giannis is validating his elite superstar status. You know, call him the Greek freak for nothing. He's on the cover of video games. He's another superstar like LeBron. So he's obviously helping Milwaukee get there and possibly beat Golden State one day. We'll have to see for ourselves.
And speaking of the Bucks, I mean, the Warriors are the #1 seed in the West. They are phenomenal this season, but like every season, they just kill it. They've got Durant, who is easily the best player in the league, and that just makes them all the better. Curry has been shooting phenomenally this season. He's making 8 threes per game, 6 threes per game. He is just unstoppable as well. Draymond Green, not exactly doing the best, but just all right for the team. On top of that, though, the Nuggets are only 1 game behind them, so it won't take a lot for them to really jump ahead. Nikola Jokic has been incredible. Jamal Murray. I mean, this team is a very unlikely group that has been absolutely dominant this season. I don't know how it's happened, but they've just come together and been very, very successful. Other than them, the first seeds, we're looking at the Rockets, who have jumped to 3rd, surprisingly, after having an abysmal beginning to their season. Chris Paul couldn't do it, carrying this team, but James Harden has gone on a historic streak, 30-point games on every single team in the league, other than the Rockets, obviously. But they have just been crazy. Clint Capella is one of the best big men in the league. He does exactly what a center is supposed to do. He rebounds, he puts back buckets, and he's able to spread the floor for the Rockets very, very well. Now, the race in the West is what's really surprising. The 4th through 8th seeds are just 2.5 game differences between the Blazers, the Thunder, the Spurs, the Jazz, and the Clippers. So there's a lot they can do here. We'll see how that goes. Playoffs will be coming up in just a couple of weeks.
So with almost a month until baseball season, free agent Bryce Harper has signed with the Philadelphia Phillies. The Nationals are moving on without Harper after a 7-year run. The Washington had plenty of time to get used to their idea of playing without him, and it shows at their camp this week in Florida. With many offers, many people want to know what sealed the deal. Harper said that you are always remembered for winning. He added that what better place to do it other than Philly. The record-breaking deal worth $330 million will lock him in for 13 years. People are worried about the length of the contract, but what do you guys think?
I mean, that is a long time. He'll be just about 40 by the time his contract is up, and that's just a lot of money. No matter what sport you're in, what profession, baseball is so many games, but still, that's a lot of money you're giving to one of the best players in the league. He is worth it, but that last time he was worth this money was 2015. He was MVP. His greatest season yet, and he needs to be able to live up to that. That's a really high bar that he set for himself.
Right.
Well, there's a lot of money at the same time. Another big free agent, and Mike Trout also re-signed with the LA Angels for 12 years for $430 million. So you got all these baseball guys making so much money. Basically says, raise your kids, play baseball. I mean, if you want to put it that way, to be honest.
Yeah.
But no, it's good for them making a lot of money. They both deserve it. They're both two of the biggest athletes in the MLB right now. I mean, you got guys like Matt Ryan making $202 million in the NFL, Alex Ovechkin $180 in the NHL. So it just shows different sports what they make, and obviously baseball's way up there for money.
And Machado just signed that big deal, too. That was the other thing, that Bryce Harper really wanted more money than Machado, basically, and he got that. He got the longer extension. He got the money. He got everything he wanted. And both those players definitely deserve to get paid. They are stars in this league. They make this league very fun to watch. So it's exciting to see how they'll take it on, if they'll live up to their hype. That's the biggest, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, Mike Trout was like, let me get more.
Why not? Why not?
All right, so coming up next, we will take a look at what is happening with sports on the WIU campus. We'll be back after the break.
National Broadcasting Society helps the future of broadcasting get the tools needed to succeed in an ever-growing media world. At Western Illinois University, the professional connections students bring to our chapter of NBS have opened doors to networking possibilities that students otherwise wouldn't have. The opportunities we are given as students at WIU allow us to make connections today for success tomorrow.
They gave me Vicodin after my knee surgery. They kept prescribing it, so I kept taking it. I didn't know it would be this addictive. I didn't know how far I'd go to get more.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
Start a story. Adopt at theshelterpetproject.org.
I chose Western Illinois University because I could get involved right away. You're going to gain experience. I'm going to be able to just become successful right out the gate. I'll be a news reporter and eventually become a news anchor one day. I've always felt that as a strong speaker, I could be a voice for the voiceless. But as long as I continue to believe in myself, work hard, and show that I want to put my best foot forward, I think that anything is possible.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Oh boy. Our back and forth. It always came back. You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
Welcome back. In Leatherneck News, it has been a busy month for WIU sports. Both men and women's basketball competed at home against Oral Roberts this past weekend. Baseball traveled to Cape Girardeau, Missouri to face off with Southeast Missouri State. Women's tennis battled in a match against our neighbors over at Bradley, while women's and men's track and field headed off to the Summit League Indoor Championship in Brookings, South Dakota.
The Western Illinois women's basketball team came up short in a fast-paced shootout, 92-85, to Oral Roberts on Saturday, where they also celebrated lone senior and all-time lead scorer Taylor Higginbotham. Combined, both teams made 30 shots from beyond the arc. Annabelle Grettinger led Western in scoring within 16 points, while Higginbotham and Danny Nicholas each scored 15 with 8 rebounds. Oral Roberts also set the all-time Summit League record for three-pointers in a single game.
The end of the basketball season is upon us, and for one senior, her last days here at WIU are coming to an end. However, this senior has left her mark in Western athletics history. News 3's Pat Morris gives us an inside look at her impact on the court.
Kelly Lindbeck, Zane Talane, Michelle Maher, Emily Clemens. These are the women that have come before us, and today we introduce a new athlete to the family of greatness. Number 24, Taylor Higginbotham.
Higginbotham pull-up jumper, that's good! Bod is the second best team in the conference. Higginbotham gets the and one. Ankle breaker as Taylor Higginbotham spins around and gets the fadeaway jumper. My goodness.
1,700 points is what it took to be called great, and Taylor Higginbotham has rightfully earned that. Taylor, now in the final stretch of her career, this small-town girl has solidified herself as one of the best in Western Illinois women's basketball history. She was part of the greatest run in WIU history, winning the Summit League title in just her sophomore season. And tonight, on senior night of all nights, we celebrate her career one last time inside Western Hall. Taylor has been working all her life for moments like these. The dedication and skills she has shown on the court is a true testament to one person in her life.
The person that's inspired me most would be my mom. She's always been an athlete, a hard worker at anything and everything that she does, and it's something that we've kind of had in common is sports. And basketball-wise, she's always the one that wanted to go out there with me, whether it was in a gym, just at the park. She's just inspired me to keep working hard and keep doing what I love, and she's always supported me and made it easy to continue playing the game of basketball, and so she's just a really big inspiration to me overall.
Breaking her former teammate's record was something she never expected to achieve. But in her heart, she has been working for this recognition the last 4 years of her life.
It's kind of cool that I've been able to leave my name in the history books in a place that, is always going to be a part of me. I'm always going to be Leatherneck at heart, and just to know that, I'll be remembered here is pretty cool.
Through the blood, the sweat, and the tears, Taylor has left everything she's had on the court. Sure, the road to 1,700 points wasn't easy, but she proved to all of us that anything is possible. While this will be the last time we'll ever get to experience Taylor playing inside Western Hall, her road to success for this team is just a preview of what she can accomplish through the rest of her life.
While it was an upset for the women's team, the Western Illinois men's basketball team controlled the game from the opening tip for a 75-66 senior night victory over Oral Roberts. Kobe Webster led a balanced attack to snap a 5-game losing streak with 13 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists.
And in baseball, the Western Illinois team just faced off against South Dakota State in their first conference series of the season. They lost the 3-game series, only taking 1 game out of 3, and their lone victory was filled with drama. It was a tie game until C.J. Schaefer Jr. hit a walk-off grand slam to give the Leathernecks a 10-6 victory over the Jackrabbits. The Leathernecks are currently 5-12 and will face North Dakota State in a 3-game series starting this Friday.
Western Illinois track and field team wrapped an impressive indoor schedule with 3 medals at the 2019 Summit League Championship. Day 1 of the 2 meet saw Bo Brashaw and Michaela Bush receive silver medals in the long jump and pentathlon, while Josh Kirby raced in at 3rd in the men's 60-meter hurdle final last Saturday.
At WIU, the women's golf team is coming off a great showing in the Savannah State Spring Fling Tournament. The team finished the event in 3rd place with a combined score of 330 strokes. The Leathernecks were led by junior Cassidy Jerkates. She shot a 7 over par and finished 5th in the individual tournament. The women's golf team's next tournament will be in Peoria for the Bradley Intercollegiate Tournament March 30th.
And Western Illinois University continues to search for a new athletic director. Tuesday, a local candidate, Danielle Supernan, will be interviewed for the position. Right now, she's the interim director of athletics. On Thursday, another local candidate, Paul Bubb, will also be interviewed. Bubb is the university's executive director of development. After this week, 2 more candidates will be interviewed, one from SIU and one from California State University. An open meeting for the WIU community to talk to Supernan is being held right now in Western Hall's Hall of Fame room until 4:30. An open meeting will be held for each candidate on the afternoon of the interview.
Up next, Zach and Phil talk NCAA brackets and NFL free agents. Don't go anywhere.
On Tuesday, November 6th,
our state will be making some important decisions.
You might think it's not important,
or your vote doesn't matter.
But that's not true.
If you don't know how
or where to register,
visit vote.gov.
Make your voice heard.
Create your success at Western Illinois University. Automatic scholarships and affordable education and more are all yours at Western Illinois University. Apply today at wiu.edu.
Leah, did you put a new dent in that?
This one? No.
Were you texting and driving again?
Yes.
Hi, Leah.
Hi, Dad.
Sorry about your bumper.
I want to be able to stand in front of a camera and tell people the story of what the weather's going to be like that day, or be able to tell people, hey, there's something coming your way, you need to take cover, you need to watch out. And being able to stand in front of a camera and tell not only people who are directly involved but their family members as well, like, this is what's going on. It's been very important to me because, you know, being in those situations where you are relying on the news to tell you what's going on, I like to be a part of that and helping people with that.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie. Nailed it. We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on, man, let's split a ride home.
Welcome back. Sunday announced the NCAA tournament brackets, and there are going to be some pretty good matchups coming in the next few weeks. What are your predictions on who is going to win, Phil?
I think it's pretty obvious. Right now, you have the 2 best teams in the nation, UNC and Duke. Duke has been on and off these past couple of years, not always winning it, being very successful, but they've never had a Zion Williamson. That's the whole thing. They've never had a player of this caliber. In college, we've never seen a player like this who's so athletic, can shoot, can drive, can do all of this. He is unbelievable. If LeBron James had played in college, he would be a better version of LeBron because he actually has a jump shot. Sorry, LeBron fans, but that's just how it is. I think Zion will end up being a better player.
Yeah, watch out for Duke and Zion, but also watch out for Michigan State. The green and white, they'll also be a force to reckon with the NCAA tournament, and maybe they'll have a chance to beat Duke. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, they absolutely do have a chance. The sneaky pick I have is Villanova. They've won last year, but they're 6th seed right now. Not as great as you'd expect them to be. Still, though, you can't count them out. They've always had very talented players. In all, I just don't see them going as far as we'd expect. I think maybe Final Four might be a thing for them. Other than that, I don't have a lot of hope for them. I think Duke and UNC is really where it's at. Billionaire investor Warren Buffett wants to give somebody $1 million a year for the rest of their life. But there is a catch. The Berkshire Hathaway CEO is once again holding a March Madness men's college basketball bracket contest. The rules are simple. Anyone who can pick the last 16 teams in the tournament will win $1 million a year for life. But to pay, you have to be an employee of Berkshire Hathaway. About 100,000 Berkshire employees completed brackets in previous years. Last year, not a single worker won the contest. In fact, none of them got past the first round of the 68-team tournament thanks to numerous upsets. 8 employees who survived the longest split a $100,000 consolation prize.
Speaking of big money, the NFL free agency has been booming with new contracts and new teams for familiar faces. And speaking of booming, Antonio Brown is now an Oakland Raider. What do you think of that? His 5-year, $73 million deal?
I mean, that's great money for him. He's been the top 3 most talented wide receiver in the NFL, but behind Tyreek Hill and Julio Jones, who I think are better than him, but still a very talented wide receiver. My only problem with this move, great money, he's not going to have a lot of help on this team. Derek Carr is a great quarterback, but without other wide receivers being able to be there to distract from Antonio Brown, because they just released Jordy Nelson, and they're obviously not going to re-sign him, that's going to be a lot of struggle for AB. He really will have to prove his talents here in this year. And that's, again, 5 years. That's a lot of money. He's going to be older near the end of his career, at the end of the contract. Not sure how that's going to weigh out for him.
Yeah, well, you still lose Jordy Nelson. You also have Tyrell Williams, the new receiver they just acquired, former San Diego Charger. He can be used in the slot, outside, in the middle. He'd be a good addition, help Derek Carr get some touchdowns. Otherwise, another former Pittsburgh Steeler, Le'Veon Bell, is now a New York Jet. What do you think of that one? Because he was a big name this offseason.
Yeah, I mean, Le'Veon got big money. Not as much as he would have gotten from being out with the Steelers again, but still definitely worth the contract. The Jets aren't that great of a team, so I'm not sure why he would exactly want to go to the Jets. But again, if he's just chasing the money, that's not a bad place to go. I was expecting him to go to Chicago. Maybe that's a little bias on my part, but still, I think that it's a great fit for him. The Jets are building up more. They got a couple good players in the offseason. Other than that, I just don't think it's that special of a move, especially if he wants to win it all. I don't think that's that great. Money, great though.
It's funny because the Steelers offered him 4 years, $70 million, what he wanted. The Jets offered him 4 years, $52 million, and he wanted at least 60. He's like, that's not enough to play for the Jets, and what do you know, he signs with the Jets. So free agency can be anything, just like Odell Beckham going to Cleveland Browns. We all thought it would be a fantasy, but it became a reality.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great pickup for the Browns. They are looking like a super team at this point, going from 0-16 just a couple of years ago to 8-8 this past year. Next year, I can't see how they can win less than 12 games. I mean, they are just phenomenal at this point. Baker is an up-and-coming star. Odell's there now. They just picked up Kareem Hunt, who will be out for 8 games. But still, Odell's 5-year, $90 million contract, he lives up to that. He is such a spectacular player. I don't see how you pay him any less.
Yeah, he's definitely worth the money. And someone who may not be worth the money is Nick Foles. He just got a 4-year, $88 million contract with the Jacksonville Jaguars, former Super Bowl MVP with the Eagles. I don't know, what do you think about this? Because they don't really have any receivers to throw to right now.
I agree, yeah. They definitely are a team who have fallen off. I mean, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, they were a threat. They were a definite threat in the NFL. Last year, they were just awful. They did not play up to any hype that they should have at whatsoever. Now, Nick Foles, a great quarterback, like you said, Super Bowl MVP, been playing very well. This is really going to be a test, though. Can he lead a team on his own to a victorious season after how much the Jaguars have gone through? I mean, Jalen Ramsey is our next best player, but that's defense. As for offense, they don't have a lot. So I agree with you. I think that's an interesting pick. $88 million over 4 years, though, that's a lot of cash for a guy that you're putting a big gamble on.
especially since they just lost Blake Bortles, their so-called franchise quarterback, as he is now the backup on the LA Rams for Jared Goff. So that could be interesting because they thought Bortles was the future, but now it's Nick Foles, former MVP. But speaking of more quarterbacks, Ryan Fitzpatrick, the man's gone all over the place. He's now a Miami Dolphin. What do you think of that one?
It's not like he has big shoes to fill at this point. I mean, behind quarterbacks like Tannehill and Jay Cutler, it's not like, it's going to be hard for him to live up to the hype. Fitzmagic does well in about 2, 3, 4 games in a year. After that, though, fizzles out. It's not a bad move for the Finns, but at the same time, I don't know how that's going to really help their team in the future because he is an older player. So I'm not sure, like I said, how that really helps them in the long term. Because if they were going short term with him as a backup, that would be a good pick. Otherwise, I just don't think he's that special.
We'll see if the Fitzmagic continues for him. Otherwise, in Baltimore, things are going down as their defense. They've lost a lot of key players. They've lost Terrell Suggs. They've lost Eric Weddle. They've lost C.J. Mosley. But they did add Earl Thomas, and they did add Mark Ingram. So there's a couple good additions there. What do you think of those?
The thing with Earl Thomas is why, I guess he is an older player, I guess. Still very much in his prime, I would say. Why he would go there, not exactly sure. But we'll find out. The season is coming up just a couple months.
A lot more excitement coming up. And speaking of excitement, don't go anywhere. We have upcoming games right after this timeout.
I started to think about doing broadcasting my freshman year. I started calling some football games for the freshman football team. My high school didn't really have a broadcasting program like some do, and so a lot of my stuff was just PA for different sports, for basketball, for volleyball. And my mom signed me up for a visit to come to Western on a Discover Western day. And I walked through the doors of the rec center, and Buzz Hoon shook my hand, said, "Zach Stone, I've seen all your footage, I know who you are, and you belong here." And that's what really makes WIU feel like home.
Disaster tips from the objects left behind.
My home wasn't insured, but you can check your insurance policy now to make sure you're covered. Oh.
My savings are lost, but you can put money aside and plan for unexpected disaster costs.
We're lost forever, but you can scan important documents now so they survive.
For more tips on how to prepare, visit ready.gov.
The first time I met Morris, the door flew open and I got this larger-than-life personality talking at the top of his lungs.
Hey, how you doing today?
Oh, man. Oh, I totally forgot. Hold on, let me get this for you. Oh. Just had a magnetic energy. So I thought, all right, we're definitely going to be friends.
Drop off a warm meal and get more than you expect. Volunteer at americaletsdolunch.org.
America, let's do lunch!
Why I love to do sports anchoring? Because, it's talking about sports. I decided to come to Western because I wanted an experience that wasn't like some other schools. I did color commentary for one volleyball game. I was terrified. I never did any broadcasting in high school, but when I was talking, it was all, staggered, and I had no idea what I was saying, and now I've done so many different games as a color commentator, play-by-play, now sports anchor. Every show and every game, it gets easier and easier, and I get more comfortable doing it.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, "Read your lease. No pets allowed." My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
Welcome back to Local Sports Focus. Before we go, we'd like to show you some upcoming games for both Macomb High and Western sports. Coming up today, we have both boys and girls baseball and softball playing against Alleman High School at 4 at home. Tomorrow, girls soccer goes up against Peoria High School at 4:30, and Friday you can catch both softball and baseball again at home. Girls start at 4:30 and boys start at 5 p.m.
For Western sports, we have women's tennis versus University of Missouri St. Louis at home today at 2. Friday, you can catch the men's baseball against North Dakota State at home at 3. WIU track and field will be competing in Carbondale Saturday. Also, on Saturday, you can catch men's soccer at home against Carl Sandburg College at 11 a.m.
Thank you for joining us for Local Sports Focus. If you like us, let us know.
You can find us on Twitter and Facebook. And for more sports news, watch Live at 4 every Tuesday and Thursday.
That's all for us today, and have a good day, Macomb.